What's up everyone? I'm Jay, and today we'll be looking at Fantastic Mr. Fox, and judging it on a 5-star, 10-star, and 5,000 point scale. Let's get right into it. Fantastic Mr. Fox is a comedy fantasy movie that was released in 2009. It is based off the Fantastic Mr. Fox book by Roald Dahl. I wonder who the main character is. The story follows him and his anthropomorphic friends as they steal food from the odious farmers, Bogis, Bunce, and Bean. Also, this movie is stop-motion animated. I enjoyed this movie. The story is fairly simple and comes from one of the prominent authors of my childhood, and there are some good jokes sprinkled throughout. The stop-motion animation is a little bit off sometimes, and they included some new characters, but those are topics for other sections. I give 600 points for watch value. This movie falls into a middle category for me, which is good for the movie because I'll probably watch it again if it's on. It's not so good for you watching this, because I won't have anything particularly exciting to say. But if you have more thoughts than I do, please let me know. I give 400 points for rewatch value. The copy of Fantastic Mr. Fox that I own is 80 pages long, 40 if you were to get rid of all the illustrations. And so once again, we get to see some adaptation work. I can't say that it is as masterful as the Dr. Seuss adaptations, but it's still good. The story remains nice and simple, and they added a couple of smaller stories into the mix. Mr. Fox has his nephew come to visit, and there's some focus put on the relationship between Mr. Fox's son and his nephew. I give 600 points for writing and plot. The voices in this movie are pretty good, and the cast has a lot more stars than I originally would have thought. However, none of them particularly stood out to me except for the voice of Bean. I thought it was one person, but it turned out not to be. I give 600 points for acting and voice. First of all, I have to applaud the makers of this movie for the stop-motion animation. It isn't the smoothest or most realistic, but any stop-motion takes a lot of time. The animals all look good most of the time, and there's some great-looking water. Also, the backgrounds are very good, and I like the way that smoke is stylized. It shows up a surprisingly large amount and looks great. I give 600 points for effects and set. I give Fantastic Mr. Fox a fantastic 2.8 out of 5, 5.6 out of 10, and 2,800 points. I remember watching this movie before, but I can't remember if I thought it was good or not. As a younger person, I feel like the villains would have seemed a little more menacing. I still thought that this rat character was pretty cool, but other than that, I have nothing more to say. I feel like this book would be a great one to experiment on. Give it to a couple of different scriptwriters and see how they all adapt it differently. Until next time, enjoy entertainment and judge it fairly. This has been Just Jay Review.